Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to begin two nations visit to Brunei and Singapore. First ever bilateral visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Brunei to bolster cooperation in space and defense. US President Joe Biden says Israeli PM Netanyahu not doing enough to secure hostage deal. Netanyahu seeks forgiveness over hostage deaths as protests continue. Britain to partially hold arms sales to Israel. Venezuela issues arrest warrant for opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez as part of criminal probe into the results of the disputed July election. And in sports, India's Sumit Antil wins second consecutive Paralympics gold in javelin throw. F64 event sets a new Paralympics record of 70.59 meters. India's medal count now 15 in Paris Games. Our top story: on his visit to Brunei, PM Modi will inaugurate the new Chancery building in the presence of members of the Indian diaspora and the Indian diplomatic community. DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya reports.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives here in Brunei Darussalam, on the very first day of his visit, he will be coming here. This is the new Chancery building of the Indian High Commission. He will be inaugurating this building in the presence of the Indian diplomatic community and members of the Indian diaspora. And after the inauguration, the Indian High Commission will start functioning from here. Located in the diplomatic area of Brunei, in the vicinity of embassies and high commissions of other countries, India's new Chancery building at Bandar Seri Begawan is a mix of tradition and modernity. It took 3 to 4 years for its construction work to be completed. Architecturally, it is one of the finest Indian high commissions or embassies the world over. It has traditional Indian motifs, extensive lattice work on windows and the exterior. Wall clearings are done with Kota stone in pink and deep maroon. There is a central courtyard water body and a multi-purpose hall with a capacity of 300 people. The decor for the inauguration ceremony is inspired by Indian culture and colors of the Indian tricolour.
The whole decor is conceptualized from the Indianness that we all have deep inside our souls. We have the national flower, the lotus, the national bird, that is the peacock, and we have conceptualized our decor around the uruli, which is a communal vessel that is used for cooking in Kerala. And here in Brunei, it is all about the Indian community and how the community come together when an event happens. And now we have Modi ji coming to Brunei, and that is our communal activity that we are going to give to the High Commission of India for the visit of our Prime Minister Modi.
Indian High Commissioner to Brunei Darussalam expressed his sentiments ahead of inaugural day.
Today is that occasion that from the ancient and the medieval to the modern and the post-colonial, we have an opportunity based and premised on the foundations of a very strong Indian diaspora here, which I spoke of, to make a new beginning. It is emblematic of our relations and its possibilities in future that the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, with his first bilateral visit here will consolidate and foster new bonds and new strengths, impart new strengths to these relations, these threads.
The Indian High Commission in Bandar Seri Begawan is thus all set to enter its new spacious and modern-looking home. With cameraman Kumar Datta, this is Munmun Bhattacharya from Bandar Seri Begawan for DD India.
And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on two nations visit to Brunei and Singapore today. In his departure statement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote him, "Today I am embarking on a first ever bilateral visit to Brunei Darussalam. As we celebrate the 40 years of our diplomatic relations, I look forward to my meetings with Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah and other esteemed members of the royal family to advance our historical relationship to new heights. From Brunei, I will travel to Singapore on 4th September. I look forward to the opportunity to meet President Tharman Shanmugaratnam, Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong, and Emeritus Senior Minister Goh Chok Tong. I will also meet with leaders of Singapore's vibrant business community. I look forward to my discussions to deepen our strategic partnership with Singapore, particularly in new and emerging areas of advanced manufacturing, digitalization, and sustainable development. Both countries are important partners in our Act East policy and the Indo-Pacific vision. I'm confident that my visits would further strengthen our partnership with Brunei, Singapore, and the larger ASEAN region. And DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya reports from its capital city, Bandar Seri Begawan, on what to expect from the visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to arrive in Brunei Darussalam on a two-day visit on the 3rd and 4th of September, and members of the Indian diaspora as well as representatives of various Indian associations here are very excited ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. Let's talk to them about what they feel about the visit. How excited are you, sir?
We are too excited to receive our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. We are eagerly waiting for his landing in Brunei tomorrow. We are counting the hours by minutes now, and maybe tomorrow morning seconds.
I'm looking forward to his visit, and it has spread a more Indianness. Though it was there, it is more Indianness here, and we are more than excited.
We are truly blessed to welcome our Modi ji, and it's my lifetime pride going to be get it tomorrow.
Every leader must learn from Modi ji that how much energy is he having. Sincere leader, sincerity, everyone must learn from him. He has not actually accumulated anything, only the country peoples.
The Indian community is extremely excited ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival in Brunei Darussalam. They're looking forward to getting a glimpse of him as soon as he arrives here. With cameraman Ankit, this is Munmun Bhattacharya from Brunei Darussalam for DD India.
And India and Brunei share deep cultural and trade ties. Indian influence in Brunei can be traced back to ancient times. India-Brunei share cultural, linguistic and social landscape. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set for a historic visit to Brunei, let's take a look at how business community feels on India-Brunei Darussalam trade and business ties.
During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Brunei Darussalam, one of the key focus areas would be trade and economy. So what can we expect from the Prime Minister's visit in this context? Let's talk to Nazir Ahmed, President of the Indian Chamber of Commerce here.
Currently, Brunei and India having the oil export from Brunei to India. And during our Honorable Prime Minister visit to Brunei, Brunei Economic Development Board has been arranged for the several meetings with the Indian counterpart to develop the more practical and established investment for the both countries. And we hope in this visit of our Honorable Prime Minister will be can improve our bilateral relationship and more investment from India to Brunei and Brunei to India.
Tell us about what is the vision for future in terms of trade and investment and business ties between the two countries, because both countries have their individual strengths.
Yes, we are having a lot of the opportunity in Brunei also for the investment, especially in the oil and gas sector, and other investment in the construction of the buildings. And many of the investors is coming from all over India, and most of them they are doing the trade between India and other countries. Also they are importing the food items mainly from India. Many Indian traders are opening the business like supermarkets and bookstore and fabrics and the clothing. And many kind of the other investment also they are still doing. Also mainly also in construction we are doing the buildings.
Thank you so much, Nazir Ahmed ji, for speaking to us on DD India. So a lot of focus, as always, is going to be on improving further ties between India and Brunei Darussalam in the oil and gas sector, but diversification is also what is expected going forward. With cameraman Kumar Datta, this is Munmun Bhattacharya from Brunei Darussalam for DD India.
And our correspondent Munmun Bhattacharya reports from its capital city, Bandar Seri Begawan, on what to expect from the visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Brunei Darussalam, a tiny state situated on the northern coast of the island of Borneo along the South China Sea, starting Tuesday. This visit is going to be significant because it's going to be the first ever bilateral visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Brunei Darussalam. The relationship between India and Brunei has steadily evolved, with defense cooperation being a key component. The exchange of naval visits and the participation of Bruneian nationals in various capacity building courses in India underscore the growing defense and educational ties between the two countries. Trade relationship is important, especially in the context of India's energy security, because every year India imports crude oil worth $500 to $600 million from Brunei Darussalam, which is rich in oil and gas reserves. Both sides also cooperate in space and health sectors and promote people-to-people exchanges. The presence of a vibrant Indian diaspora in Brunei, particularly in the oil and gas industries, construction and healthcare sectors, further strengthens the bilateral relationship. Ties between the two countries are important even from a regional perspective. Brunei Darussalam was the country coordinator for India in ASEAN for 3 years, from July 2012 to June 2015, and played an important role in bringing India closer to ASEAN. As India continues to implement its Act East policy, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Brunei Darussalam is expected to reinforce India's strategic footprint in the Southeast Asian region, fostering greater cooperation in key sectors and also paving the way for a more integrated and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. With cameraman Kumar Datta, this is Munmun Bhattacharya from Brunei Darussalam for DD India.
And like we said, after Brunei Darussalam, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Singapore, which is being seen as a historic one and is likely to strengthen the relations between the two strategic allies. DD India's Akshay Dongre files a report on the shared heritage and cultural ties between the two countries and the expectations of Indian diaspora in Singapore.
This is a hustling, bustling district of Singapore, where you will always find people of Indian descent, people of Indian origin, proud Indian people who share the tradition and heritage, and who are in fact cultural ambassadors of India that are spread out across the world. In fact, let's speak to some of the gentlemen who are sitting here. Prime Minister is coming here in 2 days. As far as the foreign policy of Prime Minister Modi is concerned, he has given significant significance to Singapore as far as India's diplomacy is concerned. So are you seeing any result of that diplomacy? Are you seeing any changes as far as the perception of India outside is concerned?
Yeah, I like his foreign policy, and especially his cabinet ministers like Jaishankar and Ajit Doval, and all of them is making good relationship with any country. So I see a good improvement after the government is formed.
Visit is also coinciding with the visit of the Indian Prime Minister.
All right, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will implement. In fact, we're getting you these visuals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is departing for Brunei, and he'll be in Brunei for 2 days, and then he will be in Singapore. So we are getting you these visuals from Palam Airport in Delhi. He's departing for Brunei. And DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya is joining us live from Brunei. Munmun, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on official visit to Brunei now. He'll be there from 3rd to 4th September. And in departure statement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that both countries are important partners in our Act East policy and Indo-Pacific vision. Tell us, how significant is the visit and focused primarily on defense and space?
Absolutely, Abhishek. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be arriving in Brunei Darussalam this evening. That is on the evening of the 3rd of September. He'll be here on a 2-day visit. The visit is going to be chock-a-block with engagements because after the Prime Minister arrives here, he is expected to have an informal interaction with members of the Indian diaspora, like he's seen in several of his previous foreign visits. And after that, he will be headed to the Indian Chancery building. It's a new Chancery building that he's going to inaugurate, and the Indian diplomatic community will henceforth be sitting from there. So the Indian High Commission is going to operate from there after the inauguration. There too, there will be an opportunity to meet members of the Indian diaspora, and for the members of the Indian diaspora, in fact, to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And then the Prime Minister will be headed to Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque. This mosque has been named after the father of the current monarch, Sultan Haji, and there too he will be meeting the members of the Indian diaspora who will be present there to welcome him. So that's about day one of the engagement. Day two of the engagements, there will be bilateral talks, delegation-level talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sultan Haji, the current monarch of Brunei Darussalam. Remember, he is one of the longest-serving absolute monarchs in the world. His coronation had taken place in 1968. So for the past 56 years, no less, he is the monarch of Brunei Darussalam. So at the Royal Palace on day two of Prime Minister's visit, that is on the 4th of September, there will be an audience with Sultan Haji as well as his family members or the royal members of Brunei Darussalam. Having said that, a banquet lunch is expected to be hosted in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi on that day. We also expect some MOUs or agreements to be signed between India as well as Brunei Darussalam. And as far as the bilateral relationship is concerned, like you've read from the departure statement, this is the first ever bilateral visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Brunei Darussalam. This year was also important because it marks 40th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic ties between India and Brunei Darussalam. Also, Dr. Manmohan Singh had visited in 2013 for the India-ASEAN Summit as well as the East Asia Summit. But those were multilateral summits. So from the bilateral point of view, this visit is going to be the most significant as far as diplomatic ties are concerned between India and Brunei Darussalam. Yes.
All right, Munmun. So it is the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Brunei, and this is being seen as a significant step in bolstering ties between the two nations. We'll leave it at that for the time being, Munmun, but we'll keep taking updates from you. We'll slip into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Updates related to Gaza conflict. Intense street protest over Prime Minister Netanyahu's handling of ceasefire negotiations entered a second night in Israel. Israeli protesters took to the streets for a second day on Monday, and the largest trade union launched a general strike after the bodies of 6 people held in Gaza were returned to Israel. The latest demonstrations come after hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets in protest across the country on Sunday, with some demonstrators blocking a major highway in Tel Aviv. Many wore Israeli flags and hung yellow ribbons, a symbol of solidarity with the hostages, from a bridge overlooking the Alon Highway. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has asked for forgiveness from Israelis for failing to return hostages. But Israel's Prime Minister struck a defiant tone, insisting its troops must control Gaza's Philadelphia corridor, saying it was vital for Israel to control a key lifeline for Hamas. Strategically important strip of land has been a sticking point in negotiations with Hamas. Israeli troops have uncovered dozens of tunnels they say have been used to smuggle weapons and ammunition into Gaza.
The pressure internationally must be directed at these killers, at Hamas, not at Israel. We say yes, they say no all the time, but they also murdered these people. And now we need maximum pressure on Hamas. I don't believe that either President Biden or anyone serious about achieving peace and achieving the release would seriously ask Israel to make these concessions. We've already made them. Hamas has to make the concession.
Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has said that Netanyahu was not doing enough to secure a hostage deal and ceasefire with Hamas. Biden, however, said that he was still in the middle of negotiations for the deal, amid reports suggesting a new proposal would be sent to the Israeli Prime Minister as final.
We're still in negotiations, not with him, with my colleagues from Qatar and from Egypt.
And Hamas armed wing on its part said that since June, the group has been operating under new instructions on how to handle hostages should Israeli forces approach their locations in Gaza. It added that hostages would return to Israel inside coffins if military pressure continued. Hamas said new instructions have been issued to the guards for the prisoners regarding dealing with them if the occupation army approached their place of detention. And the pressure also mounted internationally on Israel as the UK suspended some arms sales to Israel, citing a risk of equipment being used to violate international law. Britain will immediately suspend 30 of its 350 arms export licenses with Israel. UK Foreign Minister David Lammy said the decision did not amount to a blanket ban or an arms embargo, but only involved those that could be used in the ongoing conflict.
This is not an arms embargo. It targets around 30, approximately 350 licenses to Israel in total for items which could be used in the current conflict in Gaza. The rest will continue.
And among the items that will come under the suspension will be components for military aircraft, including fighter jets, helicopters and drones. Experts say the development is significant as it may open up an avenue for the US to do the same. Israel termed UK's move as disappointing and says it sends problematic message to Hamas and its Iranian backers. Foreign Minister Israel Katz said in a statement that Israel was disappointed by a series of decisions made by the British government, including the decision regarding defense exports. All right, a quick update on polio vaccination drive in Gaza. Medical teams have vaccinated around 160,000 children after 2 days in a complex campaign. The 6-day vaccination campaign aims to reach about 640,000 children and comes after the first polio case in 25 years in Gaza was discovered this month. Both Israel and Hamas are supporting the effort. Updates now on Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Mongolia for a 2-day state visit on Monday. Putin will likely to focus on talks on a new gas pipeline connecting Russia and China. Russia has been in talks for years about building the pipeline to carry 50 billion cubic meters of natural gas a year from its Yamal region to China via Mongolia. Putin will also participate in World War II memorial event and will meet Mongolia's president and other officials of the country. Meanwhile, Putin also mentioned that Russian forces are advancing faster in eastern Ukraine, taking several square kilometers per day. All right, let's go across to DD India's Amit Mukherjee. He's joining us live from Delhi. Amit, Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived for a state visit in Mongolia. Tell us what's the agenda and how significant is the visit?
Well, Abhishek, at the face of it, if you look at the visit, primarily is to take part in the 85th anniversary of a joint victory by Mongolia and Russia against the Japanese. You know, this was in 1939, where the Russian and the Mongolians jointly defeated the Japanese in a province which is at the borders of Mongolia. It's very close to the Khaikochin River, Khaikochin Gold River. Now, having said that, primarily the visit is to take part in this. But again, it has got a lot of importance, if we look at Russia's positioning as far as the war with Ukraine is concerned. Number one, they are trying to project the fact that Russia is still defiant about the Western powers, and it is traveling to a lot of countries right now. And secondly, also to kind of, Russia needs to overcome all the sanctions that has been imposed on it by the Western countries. Now, they need to spruce up their trade and other economic relations with other countries. Especially, they are focusing on the Asian region, where Russian gas is a lot in demand. And so that is one of the things that Russia would try and secure, basically the sale of Russian gas in this particular region. Abhishek?
All right, Amit, Ukraine urged Mongolia last week to arrest Putin on a warrant issued by the International Criminal Court last year. Tell us, what is the reaction from Russia in discussions with Mongolian authorities about the ICC warrant?
Now, Abhishek, that is one of the most significant development. Ukraine had asked the International Criminal Court to kind of execute the warrant passed against President Vladimir Putin in 2023 March, where the court had actually indicted the Russian president for several war crimes. Now, Kyiv, through the International Criminal Court, had actually urged the Mongolian government. The Mongolian government is also a signatory to, it's a member of the International Criminal Court, and through the International Court, Kyiv had actually expressed the desire to get Vladimir Putin arrested in Mongolia. But I think it is very, very clear. Even the Russian spokesperson Dmitry Peskov had issued statements saying that there is no threat as far as the Russian president is concerned. And even Mongolia had clarified that they will not be arresting the Russian president Vladimir Putin on their soil. So it is very, very clear that it is also a step whereby Vladimir Putin is trying to show that he is absolutely defiant of the Western orders, because this particular court is based in Netherlands, which is again in Europe. And it is very clear-cut, posturing that President Putin is doing right now, that he's in total defiance of the Western orders. Right. And also, he's trying to assert the fact that absolutely there are a lot of allies in the world who are actually siding with him, despite, Mongolia is a big example. Again, I just want to reiterate that despite being a signatory to the International Criminal Court, and it is actually its obligation to execute any warrant issued by this court. But still, Vladimir Putin is in Mongolia right now. And also, this is a step to kind of, shift the action which is taking place in Kyiv right now, in the cursed region of Ukraine right now, because the war is very intense right now, and Russia is going all out in this particular region. Also, it is a move to kind of shift the focus a bit from that particular region.
All right, Amit, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us those updates. Moving on to our next story now. Venezuela's Attorney General's office on Monday issued an arrest warrant for the opposition's former presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez. The warrant was issued at the request of authorities after Gonzalez failed to respond to 3 summons to testify about an opposition website which published detailed results of the country's disputed presidential election. The website is being investigated for usurping the function of the Electoral Authority, which says President Nicolas Maduro won the July 28 contest but has not published detailed results. Venezuela's National Electoral Authority and its top court have said Maduro was the victor of the election with just over half of the votes, but tallies posted by the opposition show a resounding victory for Gonzalez. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. We'll tell you about the preparations to Sri Lankan presidential elections as manifestos are unveiled listing out the roadmap ahead. Total mayhem continues as rainfall and floods in the Indian states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh batter lives. An eco-friendly Ganesh idol exhibition organized in Rajkot ahead of Ganesh Chaturthi festival.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we have done so far. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi departs for two-nation visit to Brunei and Singapore. First ever bilateral visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Brunei to bolster cooperation in space and defense. US President Joe Biden says Israeli PM Netanyahu not doing enough to secure hostage deal. Netanyahu seeks forgiveness over hostage deaths as protests continue. Britain to partially halt arms sales to Israel. Venezuela issues arrest warrant for opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez as part of criminal probe into the results of disputed July election. And in sports, India's Sumit Antil wins second consecutive Paralympics gold in javelin throw F64 event. Sets a new Paralympics record of 70.59 meters. India's medal count now 15 in Paris Games. Alright, Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuno presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa unveiled his election manifesto titled Namal Dekma at an event in Colombo on Monday. Touted as the key candidate in the race, incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe, SJP candidate Sajid Premadasa and NPP candidate Anura Kumara unveiled their manifestos last week, listing out their policies and roadmap. With the death of one candidate, 38 candidates are now in the fray. The election is scheduled to be held on 21st September to elect the 9th executive president. All right, let's go across to Colombo. DD India's Dr. Ahmed Moeen Faruqi is joining us live from there. Dr. Faruqi, SJP and NPP released their election manifestos a week ago, and now SLPP presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa unveiled his election manifesto yesterday. Tell us, what is the roadmap of SLPP?
You see, Abhishek, a very good morning to all our viewers from Sri Lanka. SLPP is basically riding high on the Mahinda, the decade which was there in which SLPP had a huge chunk of the time when it was in the power. And it is posing as an alternative to various other candidates, talking about the future of the Sri Lankan island, taking it to further growth and maintaining a foreign policy which is non-partisan. And there are promises which are there with regard to building the trade economy as well as the industry and taking the education sector to further new heights. Although these may be seeming more so on the usual lines, but people will still remember that SLPP had promised very, very populistic kind of measures in 2019 when the then candidate of SLPP, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, he had romped home with a huge popular victory. And thereafter, the Sri Lankan island had faced the economic crisis, the worst it has ever faced in 2022. So this is something that will play on the voters' minds. But Namal has posed as an alternative to various other candidates, and he's saying that with young energy, with young mindset, he is coming forward, and he wants the voters to give him an opportunity. Meanwhile, Abhishek, I would also want to add on here that incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe also had launched his manifesto last week, alongside the other candidates like Anurakumar Dissanayaka of NPP and Sajid Premadasa of SJP. Abhishek.
Dr. Faruqi, also, 2 years after Sri Lanka went through a serious political churn, as witnessed in Bangladesh now, it is readying for a presidential election on 21st September. Like we said in the report also, there are now 38 candidates who have registered for the presidential election. They are in the fray, 38 in total. Tell us, who are the front runners?
See, primarily speaking, I mentioned a few names already. You're right, 38 candidates are totally in the fray, but incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe, he has been counting that at a time when the crisis was at its peak, he had come forward for the stability of the nation. Meanwhile, the popular surveys have tipped SJP candidate Sajid Premadasa as well as NPP candidate Anurakumar Dissanayaka to be the front runners. Meanwhile, it could be a triangular fight between these top three candidates. Namal might take a small chunk of the SLPP vote, but it is too early to predict anything as of now. The campaigns are intensified as of now. All candidates are busy with their campaign meetings and rallies, and each of them have their own stronghold, and they will want to get more of the fence sitter and the bench votes, and hopefully they want to cash in on the alliances which they have made with the smaller parties. Abhishek.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Dr. Faruqi, thank you for your inputs. And the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, inaugurated the Abu Dhabi campus of the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi on Monday. The Crown Prince also welcomed its first batch of undergraduate students, marking a historic milestone in international engineering education under the prestigious brand of IIT. Setting up of a campus of IIT in the UAE was part of the vision document launched by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in February 2022, which is a roadmap for expansion of the India-UAE relationship into new areas of collaboration. The inaugural batch of 52 students will pursue BTech degrees in computer science and engineering and energy engineering. And India's Minister of Education Dharmendra Pradhan has hailed the inauguration of IIT Delhi Abu Dhabi campus. In a tweet, the minister said, and I quote him, "Grateful to the UAE leadership for the continuous support. I look forward to welcome Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan upon his visit to IIT Delhi on 9 September. IIT Delhi Abu Dhabi campus, an edifice of India-UAE friendship, unites our two countries together for leveraging the power of knowledge, science and technology for mutual and global prosperity. It also takes forward PM Narendra Modi's vision for internationalization of India's education." Unquote. Now in Kolkata, the anti-corruption branch of India's Central Bureau of Investigation has arrested Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of R.G. Kar Medical College, along with 3 others over alleged corruption and financial misconduct at Eastern India's R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital. Dr. Ghosh was under investigation for alleged corruption and financial irregularities at the college and hospital following a directive from a single bench of the Calcutta High Court, which ordered the CBI to probe the matter. In addition to Dr. Ghosh, 2 vendors, Biplav Singha and Suman Hazara, as well as Afsar Ali, the additional security to Dr. Ghosh, have been arrested. On August 24th, following the orders of Calcutta High Court, an official FIR was registered by the CBI against Ghosh on the alleged corruption case. Shifting focus, unprecedented rainfall and floods in the Indian states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh over the past 3 days battered lives. Rescue and relief operations have been intensified as agencies work to manage the situation, and the chief ministers of the two states stepped up efforts to tackle the situation. The India Met Department has predicted more rainfall in some parts of both the states on Tuesday. In Telangana, incessant rainfall caused inundation of low-lying areas, damage to agricultural crops and disruption of the state's rail and road links with neighbouring Andhra Pradesh. The Revant Reddy government in Telangana has put the damage at 5,000 crore as per preliminary estimates and sought an immediate assistance of Rs 2,000 crore from the centre. All right, let's go across to Hyderabad. AD India's Prasanthi is joining us live from there. Prasanthi, tell us, heavy rains have caused significant waterlogging in various parts of Hyderabad. Tell us, what is the latest situation, current situation?
Yeah, in Telangana, the rain situation has improved a little bit compared to the previous days. During the last 24 hours, rain's intensity has come down, especially in the southern districts of Telangana. However, the northern districts of Telangana are still experiencing moderate to heavy rains during the last 24 hours. In this backdrop, the government has directed the district collectors of the northern Telangana to be more alert and take all measures to see that there is no damage to public property or to lives. Chief Secretary Shanti Kumari has held a teleconference with the collectors of northern Telangana and gave instructions in this regard. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Revanth Reddy has visited Khammam and Suryapet districts, which has burnt the havoc of this fury, and he has particularly visited the places which were waterlogged and which were badly damaged. He held a review with the senior officials also there itself, and after the review he said the families which were badly hit by the rains will be given an assistance of 10,000 rupees as immediate assistance, and those who were killed because of the rains, they will get a financial assistance of 5 lakh rupees. He said cattle feed also which was killed, which lost lives because of the rains, will also be given compensation. Chief Minister asked the officials to step up the relief operations. Meanwhile, 110 relief camps have been opened in the rain-hit areas, and more than 10,000 people were from the low-lying areas were shifted to these relief camps. In the Khammam district, nearly 7,000 people are flood victims are there in 21 camps set up there. The government has been taking all the steps because the Met Department has forecast more rains in the coming days. The Hyderabad Met Department has said that a trough of low pressure is being formed in the West Bay of Bengal, and under its influence, more rains are likely for Telangana as well as Andhra Pradesh also. So, keeping these directions in mind, the government is leaving no stone unturned to see that there is minimum damage because of the rains. On the other hand, the ministers are also touring in the rain hit areas, and they are monitoring the relief operations.
Prasanthi, also rains must have also impacted day-to-day lives of the common people. Tell us what is the impact on the transportation, and also tell us briefly about the relief and rescue operation also.
Yeah, the transportation has been badly affected because of the continuous rains. Under South Central Railway limits, more than 300 trains were cancelled because of the rains, because a railway track near Warangal district, has been damaged considerably. Because of that, trains going towards Chennai, Kolkata, New Delhi, they were all cancelled, and the restoration works are going on war foot basis, and the GM, South Central GM, Central Railway GM himself, he was there monitoring the relief operations. Similarly, the National Highway 65, which links Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, that also got affected because of the rains, and vehicular traffic came to a standstill till yesterday afternoon. After that, the officials have, the road and building department officials have restored this line, and the traffic is diverted to Vijayawada through other routes. So similarly, in Hyderabad also several areas were waterlogged, but the rescue teams they were in the field, and they were taking all measures to remove the water from the marooned areas. So life is slowly coming back to normalcy, and there has been especially Hyderabad has been having a respite from the heavy rains since yesterday morning.
All right, so Prashanti, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the updates from Hyderabad. Eco-friendly idols of Lord Ganesha attracts a lot of buyers in an exhibition organized in Gujarat's Rajkot ahead of Ganesh Chaturthi festival. The festival celebrates the birthday of Hindu Lord Ganesha, also known as Vinayak Chaturthi or Ganeshotsav. The festival is marked with the installation of Ganesha's clay idols privately in homes and publicly. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. We'll give you the weather updates from around the world. President of India Draupadi Murmu, PM Modi congratulate javelin thrower Sumit Antil for his gold medal triumph at Paris Paralympics. An Indian para contingent display a phenomenal performance, bagging 8 medals on day 5 at Paris Paralympics. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Efforts continue to extinguish the largest forest fire that has occurred in Ecuador. According to the Risk Management Secretariat of Ecuador, crews from Peru helped join the efforts to put out the flame. The Peruvian armed forces have responded with water discharges of Mi-17 helicopters and Spartan aircrafts with a total of 50,000 gallons of water sprayed over the fire area in Quilanga. SNGR is monitoring 8 active forest fires and 2 others which are already under control in 7 provinces. All right, weather updates now. Recent satellite images have revealed widespread smoke blanketing parts of Brazil due to rampant wildfires. These fires, which have been especially severe in the Amazon rainforest and the Cerrado savanna, are contributing to significant environmental damage and heightened concerns about climate change. The smoke from these wildfires is not only affecting local ecosystems, but is also spreading across large areas, impacting air quality in several cities and the regions. And last year's record drought in Amazon and less than usual rainfall since have caused river water levels to drop rapidly, hindering navigation by barges carrying grains for export and cutting off communities that depend on river transport. Authorities have warned of water levels falling since June. All rivers in the Amazon basin are expected to drop below their historical levels. More rains had been expected in the second half of this year. And hailstones batter southern Australia as high winds and heavy rain hit the region, causing widespread damage in the states of Victoria and Tasmania. At least 1,100,000 homes remain without power. Weather warnings remain in place for much of the state's southeast coast as winds of almost 150 km per hour lashed the state overnight. Now, floods and landslide killed 13 people in Philippines as tropical storm Yagi dumped heavy rain on the capital Manila and nearby provinces. Yagi brought winds of up to 85 km per hour as it continued to move northwest on Luzon. Philippines typically record an average of 20 tropical storms annually, many of those typhoons, with landslides among the biggest causes of casualties. And the heavy rains and floods during the past few days across Sudan have affected over 190,000 of people. Over 60 people were reportedly killed in affected areas, including 2 children killed in Kassala. The flooding caused damage to over 34,000 houses, which left people in dire need of shelter, sanitation and hygiene services, health and food supplies. UNICEF continues to respond to the urgent needs of children and continues to provide life-saving flood response services. Sports updates now. We'll start with Paralympics. Para javelin thrower Sumit Antil scripted history on Monday as he successfully defended his Paralympics gold medal in Paris. Antil took India's gold medal tally to 3 as he broke the Paralympics javelin record twice in F64 final category at the Paralympics 2024 with a best throw of 70.59 meters. Antil is the second Indian overall after shooter Avni Lekhra to defend the Paralympics title. Indian President Draupadi Murmu took to social media platform to praise the remarkable achievement by Sumit Antil. She said, and I quote her, "I convey my heartiest congratulations to Sumit Antil on winning gold medal in men's javelin throw event at the Paris Paralympics. With his 2 successive Paralympics gold medals and record-setting performances, Sumit has gained a special standing among the champions. His outstanding achievements will inspire countless people, especially the youth." And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also congratulated the player for his exceptional achievement. He said, and I quote him, "Exceptional performance by Sumit. Congratulations to him for winning the gold in men's javelin F64 event. He has shown outstanding consistency and excellence. Best wishes for his upcoming endeavors." An Indian para contingent were on a roll on Monday as India bagged 8 medals on day 5 at Paris Paralympics. Nitya Sreesevan bagged the bronze medal in badminton in SH6 category after beating Indonesia's Rina Marlina 21-14, 21-6. The SH6 category is for the athletes who have a short stature and can compete while standing. Nitya currently holds the world #1 rank in women's singles SH6 category. An Indian duo of Sheetal Devi and Rakesh Kumar achieved a significant triumph by securing the bronze medal in mixed team compound archery competition at the Paralympics. The duo defeated Italy's Eleonora Sarti and Matteo Bonassina with a narrow 156-155 win. The victory comes after a heartbreaking semi-final loss and marks only the second time India has won a medal in archery at the Paralympics, in fact. The win is historic for Sheetal Devi as she becomes the first Indian woman to win an archery medal at the Paralympics. Now let's take a look at the medal tally at Paris Paralympics so far. China leads the medal tally with 43 gold medals, 30 silver and 14 bronze medals, followed by Great Britain, who have 29 gold medals and 54 in total. United States is at 3rd position with 13 gold medals and they have won 42 medals in total. India, they are at 15th position with 15 medals in total. including 3 gold medals, 5 silvers and 7 bronze medals. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.